The stars looked different from this far out. Captain Jake Miller stood on the bridge of the New Horizon and watched the endless black space through the main window. 3 months ago, he had been on Earth, planning his retirement from the space program. Now he was further from home than any human had ever traveled. The ship hummed quietly around him. Everything was working perfectly. The new faster-than-light drive had carried them beyond the solar system without any problems. Jake felt proud of what humanity had achieved. They were finally ready to meet whatever was out there in the galaxy. Lieutenant Amy Foster sat at the communications station, listening to radio signals from distant stars. She had been doing this for weeks, hoping to find signs of other intelligent life. So far, they had found nothing but empty space and dead planets. Chief Engineer Pete Collins walked onto the bridge, wiping grease from his hands with an old rag. The engine room was his kingdom, and he treated the ship's systems like his own children. He had volunteered for this mission because he wanted to see how human technology would perform in deep space. "Everything looks good down below, Captain," Pete said. "The engines are running smooth as silk." "We could keep going for months at this speed," Jake nodded. The mission was supposed to last 6 months. They would explore nearby star systems, collect data, and return to Earth with proof that humanity was ready to join whatever civilization might exist among the stars. It seemed simple enough that Amy suddenly sat up straight at her station. She pressed her headphones closer to her ears and adjusted several controls on her panel. Her face went pale. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," she said. "It's not natural radio noise. This is artificial. Someone is transmitting." Jake felt his heart beat faster. This was the moment they had all hoped for and feared at the same time. First contact with an alien civilization. "Can you tell where it's coming from?" Jake asked. Amy worked at her controls for several minutes. The bridge was completely silent except for the quiet beeping of computers and the soft hum of the air recycling system. "It's close, sir. Maybe 2 light hours away. The signal is very strong, like they have powerful transmitters." Pete moved closer to look over Amy's shoulder at her screens. "What kind of signal is it? Are they trying to talk to us?" "I don't think so," Amy said quietly. "It sounds more like military communications. Short bursts, coded messages, like they're coordinating something big." Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Military communications could mean many things, and most of them were not good for a lone human ship in unknown space. "Can you decode any of it?" he asked. Amy shook her head. "It's completely alien." "But Captain, there's more. I'm detecting at least 12 different transmission sources. That means 12 ships, maybe more." The bridge fell silent again. Jake stared out at the stars and tried to think. 12 alien ships in formation meant either a trade convoy or a military fleet. Either way, they were probably much more advanced than humanity's first deep space vessel. "Should we try to contact them?" Pete asked before Jake could answer. Amy's equipment started beeping rapidly. She looked at her screens with wide eyes. "Captain, they're moving. All the ships are changing course. They're heading straight for us." Jake's mind raced. How could the aliens know about the New Horizon? Human technology was supposed to be invisible to most detection methods, unless alien technology was much better than Earth scientists had predicted. "How long until they reach us?" Jake asked. Amy calculated quickly. At their current speed, about 6 hours. 6 hours to decide the fate of humanity's first contact with alien life. Jake thought about all the training he had received, all the protocols and procedures. None of them had prepared him for this situation. "Amy, try to contact them. Use standard first contact procedures." Amy nodded and began transmitting on multiple frequencies. She sent mathematical sequences, pictures of human anatomy, and maps of the solar system. the basic package that Earth scientists had designed to introduce humanity to alien civilizations. For 2 hours, Amy transmitted everything she could think of. The alien ships continued moving toward them, but they did not respond to any of the human messages. Then the aliens finally answered. The voice that came through the ship's speakers was deep and mechanical. It spoke in perfect English, which surprised everyone on the bridge. How could aliens know human language? Human vessel. This is Commander Crix of the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet. You will stop your engines immediately and prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will result in the destruction of your ship and your homeworld. Jake stared at the speaker in shock. Not only did the aliens speak English, but they were making threats. This was not how first contact was supposed to happen. Commander Crix, this is Captain Jake Miller of the human vessel New Horizon. We come in peace. We are explorers, not warriors. We mean no harm to you or your people. The aliens' response came quickly. Your intentions are irrelevant. You have entered Zephyrian space without permission. This is an act of war. You have 72 hours to transmit the location of your homeworld and surrender unconditionally. If you refuse, we will track your ship back to your planet and destroy it. Pete looked at Jake with worry in his eyes. Amy had stopped working at her station and was listening to every word. Jake took a deep breath. 72 hours to save Earth and humanity's future. He thought about his wife back home, about all the people who would never know that aliens existed until it was too late. Amy, open a channel back to Earth. Maximum power. Amy's hands moved quickly over her controls. Channel open, sir. Jake looked out at the stars one more time before speaking into the microphone. Earth Control, this is New Horizon. We have made contact with hostile alien forces. They are demanding our surrender and the location of Earth. Tell the President. Tell everyone. He paused, thinking about the weight of his next words. Tell them we said no. The message from the New Horizon reached Earth 43 hours after Jake Miller sent it. The radio signal traveled through space at the speed of light, carrying news that would change humanity forever. Dr. Helen Parks was the first person to hear Jake's words in the deep space. Communications Center in Nevada. Helen had been monitoring the New Horizon mission since the ship left Earth 3 months ago. She expected routine reports about empty star systems and failed attempts to find alien life. Instead, she heard a human voice telling her that hostile aliens were threatening to destroy Earth. Helen ran to the emergency phone and called the President's office. Within minutes, every important person in the government knew that humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and that their new neighbors wanted them dead. President Lisa Chun sat in the Situation Room beneath the White House, surrounded by her most trusted advisors. The recording of Jake's message played 3 times before anyone spoke. The room was completely silent, except for the quiet hum of computers and air conditioning. General Roy Adams was the first to break the silence. He was a career military officer who had spent 40 years preparing for wars that might never come. Now he faced a war that seemed impossible to win. How much time do we have? Lisa asked. Helen checked her calculations again. The aliens gave Captain Miller 72 hours. That was 2 days ago. We have less than 30 hours before their deadline. Roy spread a map of Earth's military forces across the table. We have nuclear weapons, aircraft carriers, and the best military in human history. But none of it was designed to fight aliens in space. Lisa looked at the faces around the table. These were smart people who had solved many difficult problems, but none of them had ever planned to defend Earth from an alien invasion. What do we know about their technology? She asked. Helen opened a thick folder filled with scientific reports. Based on Captain Miller's transmission, they found our ship very quickly. That means their sensors are much better than ours. They also traveled faster than our ship, which means their engines are more advanced. How much more advanced? Roy asked. We don't know. It could be a small advantage, or it could be like comparing a horse to a jet plane. The room fell silent again. Everyone understood what Helen was saying. If the aliens were much more advanced, then Earth's military might be completely useless. Dr. Carl Price, the head of NASA, raised his hand like a student in school. What about our space program? We have the space station, a few satellites, and some old rockets. Could we fight them in space? Roy shook his head. Our space program was designed for exploration, not war. We have nothing that could fight and fight. Alien warship. Lisa felt the weight of 6 billion lives on her shoulders. Every person on Earth was depending on her to make the right decision. The problem was that she had no idea what the right decision might be. What are our options? She asked. Helen flipped through her notes. We could try to negotiate. Maybe they want something we can give them without destroying our civilization. What if negotiation fails? Lisa asked. Roy leaned forward in his chair. Then we fight. Even if we can't win, we can make them pay a heavy price for attacking us. Meanwhile, far from Earth, news of humanity's defiance was spreading through the galaxy. The Zephyrian message about the new species had reached dozens of alien civilizations. Most of them were shocked by what they heard. Ambassador Velthok of the Krillian Consortium read the intelligence report in his office on the planet Nexus Prime. The Krillians were one of the oldest and most peaceful species in the galaxy. They had never seen a new species refuse to surrender to the Zephyrian Empire. Velthok called his assistant into the office. Send a message to all Consortium members. Tell them about these humans. They need to know what is happening. On the war planet Drakmor, War Chief Gorth laughed when he heard about the humans. The Drakmari were the strongest warriors in the galaxy, but even they had learned to respect Zephyrian power. The idea of a new species challenging the Empire seemed funny to him. How many ships do these humans have? Gorth asked his intelligence. Officer, according to our sources, they have one exploration vessel with no weapons. Gorth laughed louder. One ship against the entire Zephyrian fleet? These humans are either very brave or very stupid. Back on the Zephyrian homeworld, Commander Crix was preparing his fleet for what he expected to be an easy victory. The Zephyrians had conquered dozens of worlds over the past century. Most species surrendered as soon as they saw the Imperial fleet. The few that tried to fight were destroyed quickly. Crix's assistant brought him a report about human military capabilities. The Zephyrians had been monitoring Earth's radio transmissions for years, learning about human technology and society. They have primitive nuclear weapons and chemical rockets, the assistant said. Their most advanced ships cannot even leave their home star system without special engines. Crix nodded with satisfaction. Assemble the third battle fleet. We will destroy their homeworld as an example to other species who might think about challenging the Empire. The assistant hesitated. Sir, what if they surrender before we arrive? Crix looked at the star charts, showing the location of the human solar system. They will surrender. They all surrender eventually. No species is foolish enough to fight a war they cannot win. But Crix was wrong about humans. Back on Earth, President Lisa Chun had made her decision. She stood in front of television cameras and spoke to every person on the planet. My fellow humans, we have learned that we are not alone in the universe. We have also learned that our new neighbors want to destroy us. They have given us a choice: surrender or be destroyed. Lisa paused and looked directly into the camera. I have consulted with our military leaders and our scientists. The odds against us are very bad. We have never fought a war in space. We have never faced an enemy with technology more advanced than our own. She took a deep breath before continuing. But we are human beings. We have survived ice ages, plagues, and world wars. We have climbed the highest mountains and explored the deepest oceans. We have split the atom and reached for the stars. Lisa's voice grew stronger. If these aliens want to destroy us, they will have to fight for it. We will not surrender. We will not give up. We will show them what humans do when someone threatens our home. Around the world, people watched their president declare war on an alien empire. Some were afraid, some were angry, but most felt something they had not expected to feel: hope. For the first time in human history, all of humanity was united against a common enemy. The war for Earth's survival was about to begin. The first battle happened near Jupiter, where humans had built their biggest space station. Admiral Kate Williams stood on the bridge of the Defiant Star, watching dozens of alien ships appear on her screens. The Zephyrian advance fleet had arrived. Exactly when they said they would dock, Kate had been chosen to lead Earth's defense because she was the best tactical officer in the human space navy. She had studied every battle in human history, from ancient wars to modern conflicts. Now she would find out if any of that knowledge could help against alien technology. The Zephyrian ships were beautiful and terrifying. They looked like silver, daggers floating in space, each one 3 times larger than the biggest human warship. Kate counted 37 enemy vessels arranged in a perfect formation that humans had never seen before. Communications. Try to contact them one more time, Kate ordered. Lieutenant Ben Clark worked at his station and shook his head. No response, Admiral. They're not interested in talking. Kate looked at her small fleet of human ships. She had 12 vessels, including cargo ships that had been quickly fitted with weapons. Against 37 advanced alien warships, the odds were hopeless. But Kate had learned something important from studying human military history. Hopeless battles were sometimes the ones that changed everything. All ships, this is Admiral Williams. Remember what we discussed. Don't try to fight them like humans would fight. They expect us to be predictable. Instead, we're going to show them what humans do when we're desperate. The Zephyrian fleet moved forward in their perfect formation. Commander Crix watched from his flagship, expecting the humans to either surrender or charge forward in a hopeless attack. Most species did one or the other. Instead, the humans scattered in all directions like frightened birds. Some ships flew toward the asteroid belt. Others headed for Jupiter's moons. A few seemed to be running away toward Earth. What are they doing? Crix asked his tactical officer. I don't understand their strategy, sir. They're not maintaining formation. They're not protecting their command ship. It looks like chaos. Crix felt confused, but not worried. Follow them. Destroy them one by one. This will be easier than I thought. The Zephyrian ships broke formation to chase the scattered human vessels. This was exactly what Kate had hoped for. Human military doctrine was based on a simple idea. If you can't win a fair fight, don't fight fair. Colonel Sam Rodriguez led a team of Marines aboard the cargo ship Lucky Strike. The ship looked like it was running away, but Sam had volunteers, hidden in the cargo bay, wearing spacesuits and carrying weapons. When a Zephyrian cruiser got close enough to capture the Lucky Strike, Sam and his team did something no alien species had ever done before. They boarded the enemy ship. The Zephyrians were not prepared for close combat. Their technology was designed for space battles between fleets, not for fighting individual soldiers inside their own ships. Sam's Marines used cutting tools to break through the alien hull, then fought their way through corridors that were never meant to be battlefields. Sergeant Linda Hayes carried a bag full of improvised explosives, made from ship parts and cleaning chemicals. She had learned to make bombs from an old Army manual, the same way humans had been making weapons for thousands of years. The aliens had never seen anything like her crude but effective devices. Corporal Danny Clark found the ships. Computer Center, and started connecting human equipment to alien systems. He didn't understand how the alien technology worked, but he understood how to break things. Within minutes, the Zephyrian cruiser was sending random signals to its own fleet. Back on his flagship, Commander Crix watched his perfect battle plan fall apart. Human ships were doing impossible things. They were ramming his vessels, exploding themselves to damage multiple enemy ships, and somehow turning his own weapons against him. "Sir, the humans have taken control of the Void Piercer," his tactical officer reported. "They're using it to attack our other ships." Crix stared at his display screens in disbelief. No species had ever captured a Zephyrian warship before. The idea was so impossible that they had never even prepared for it. How did they get aboard? Crix demanded. They used some kind of small craft to attach themselves to the hull, then cut their way inside. Our internal security systems were not designed to fight intruders. More bad news came from across the battlefield. Human ships were not trying to win a traditional space battle. Instead, they were causing as much damage as possible using methods that made no sense to alien military thinking. Captain Nick Barnes commanded a small human destroyer that was badly damaged and about to be destroyed. Instead of surrendering, he aimed his ship at the largest Zephyrian vessel and activated his self-destruct system. The explosion tore a hole in the alien ship's hull and disabled its main weapons. Specialist Megan Price was aboard the human command ship, trying to understand alien communications. She had been listening to Zephyrian radio traffic for hours, looking for patterns. Suddenly, she realized something important. "Admiral, I think I can disrupt their coordination," she told Kate. "Their ships are controlled by a central command system. If I can jam the right frequencies, they won't be able to work together." "Do it," Kate ordered. Megan transmitted a signal that had been designed to interfere with human electronics. She hoped it would work on alien technology, too. Within seconds, the Zephyrian formation began to break apart as ships lost contact with their command vessel. The battle near Jupiter lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the human fleet was almost completely destroyed. But the Zephyrian advance fleet was gone too. For the first time in their history, the Zephyrians had lost a major battle. Commander Crix's flagship was damaged, but still functional. He sent an emergency message back to the Zephyrian homeworld, trying to explain what had happened. "The humans fight like no species we have ever encountered," he reported. "They do not follow standard military protocols. They sacrifice their own ships to damage ours. They board our vessels and fight inside them. They turn our own weapons against us." Crix paused, looking at the wreckage floating around Jupiter. "Request immediate reinforcements. These humans are far more dangerous than our intelligence reports indicated." On Earth, the news of the battle was both good and bad. Humanity had proven they could fight aliens and win. But the cost was terrible, and everyone knew the Zephyrians would return with more ships and better preparation. Admiral Kate Williams was rescued from her damaged command ship and brought back to Earth. She met with President Lisa Chun and the military leadership to plan for the next battle. "What did we learn?" the president asked. Kate looked tired but determined. "We learned that aliens fight like civilized beings. They follow rules and protocols. They try to minimize damage to their own forces." She paused. "We learned that humans don't fight like that. We fight to survive and will do anything to win." "Is that enough?" General Roy Adams asked. Kate thought about the Marines who had died boarding alien ships, the pilots who had crashed their vessels into enemy cruisers, and the engineers who had turned everyday tools into weapons of war. "It's what we have," she said, "and it's what makes us human." The news of the Jupiter battle spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. On the planet Altair 7, Scholar Prime Eifnix read the battle reports with growing amazement. The Altarians were known throughout the galaxy for studying other species and understanding how different civilizations fought wars. Ifnex had studied military history for over 200 years. He had seen the rise and fall of dozens of warrior races. He had watched the Zephyrians conquer half the galaxy using superior technology and disciplined tactics. But he had never seen anything like what the humans had done at Jupiter. This makes no sense, Ifnex told his research team. Look at these tactics. The humans scattered their fleet instead of staying together. They boarded enemy ships during battle. They used suicide attacks against superior forces. His assistant, a young scholar named Dal Rex, looked confused. Are they insane? Those tactics violate every principle of civilized warfare. Ifnex stared at the reports again. Something important was hidden in these battle records, something that could change how the galaxy understood warfare itself. Send a message to the Galactic Observatory. Tell them we need access to all available data about human civilization. Everything they have. Meanwhile, the war was growing larger. Captain Nick Barnes had survived the Jupiter battle and was now leading a strike team deep into Zephyrian territory. His mission was to attack an alien supply depot that provided fuel and weapons to their invasion fleet. Nick's team included some of the most creative and dangerous humans in the military. Tech specialist Megan Price had learned to hack alien computer systems using methods that no other species had ever tried. Instead of breaking alien codes, she found ways to make their own systems work against them. The supply depot was protected by automatic defense systems that had never failed before. The alien computers were programmed to recognize and destroy any approaching enemy ships. But Megan had discovered something interesting about alien artificial intelligence. It was too smart for its own good. Their computers think like aliens, she explained to Nick as they approached the depot. They expect logical, predictable attacks. But humans don't attack logically. Megan sent a series of random signals to the depot's defense computers. The signals looked like communication attempts from different alien species, all arriving at the same time. The artificial intelligence tried to process all the signals and respond appropriately to each one. It's getting confused, Megan said, watching her displays. The computer is trying to follow too many protocols at once. While the defense system was distracted, Nick's team landed on the depot and began their real mission. But instead of simply destroying the facility, they did something that shocked the watching galaxy. They reprogrammed it. Sergeant Bob Taylor was an expert with explosives, but he was also good with electronics. He worked with Megan to change the depot's computer systems so they would attack Zephyrian ships instead of protecting them. When the next alien supply convoy arrived, their own depot opened fire on them. The attack was so successful that it caught the attention of other galactic civilizations. Ambassador Velthok of the Krillian Consortium called an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council to discuss what they were seeing. The humans are not fighting like any species we have encountered before, Velthok told the assembled representatives. They adapt to new situations faster than should be possible. They turn their enemies' strengths into weaknesses. They fight as if they have been preparing for this war their entire lives. War Chief Gorth of the Drakmari listened to the reports with growing respect. The Drakmari were proud warriors who valued strength and courage above all else. But they had never seen tactics like the humans were using. How do they learn so quickly? Gorth asked. Our intelligence says they have never fought a space war before. Yet they are defeating Zephyrian forces that have conquered dozens of worlds. On the Zephyrian homeworld, Dr. Zexmore was asking the same question. As the Empire's chief military strategist, he was responsible for understanding why their perfect battle plans were failing against primitive humans. Zexmore had spent weeks studying every piece of information the Zephyrians had collected about Earth. He read about human wars, human weapons, and human military thinking. What he discovered made him feel cold with fear. "Commander Crix, you need to see this immediately," Zexmore said when he called the military leader to his laboratory. Zexmore had prepared a presentation that showed the truth about human civilization. The walls of his laboratory were covered with charts and pictures showing thousands of years of human conflict. "Look at this," Zexmore said, pointing to a timeline of human history. "For the past 5,000 years, humans have been at war with each other almost constantly. Not wars against alien invaders or dangerous animals. Wars against other humans." Crix studied the information with growing horror. They fight their own species? More than that. They have perfected the art of fighting beings exactly as intelligent as themselves. Every human military strategy, every weapon, every tactic has been tested against other humans who are trying to counter it. Zexmore showed Crix records of human battles throughout history. Look at how they adapt. In their ancient wars, they used swords and shields. When someone invented better armor, they invented better weapons. When someone built stronger castles, they invented more powerful cannons. But how does this help them fight us? Crix asked. Don't you see? Every other species in the galaxy developed in relative peace. When we fight wars, we fight against species that are less advanced or less intelligent than ourselves. But humans have spent thousands of years fighting enemies who are exactly as smart and creative as they are. Zexmore pulled up records of recent human conflicts. Look at their most recent wars. They developed new tactics every few months. When one side invented a new weapon, the other side found a way to defeat it within weeks. They have been training for interspecies warfare without knowing it. The truth was becoming clear. Humans were not winning because they were stronger or smarter than other species. They were winning because they had spent their entire evolutionary history learning how to defeat opponents who were just as clever and determined as themselves. Send a message to all Zephyrian commanders, Crix ordered. Tell them that humans are not like other species we have conquered. They are warfare specialists who have been preparing for this conflict for thousands of years. Back on Altair 7, Scholar Prime Ithnex reached the same conclusion. He sent his findings to civilizations across the galaxy, warning them about what humanity represented. We have made a terrible mistake, his message read. We thought these humans were a primitive species that had just discovered space travel. Instead, they are the most advanced warfare specialists the galaxy has ever seen. They fight wars the way we pursue peace, as an art form that they have been perfecting for millennia. The message ended with a warning that would change Galactic politics forever. If we continue this war, we will lose. Not because humans are stronger than us, but because they are the only species that has learned how to fight enemies exactly as intelligent as themselves. We have been fighting children. They have been fighting gods. The galaxy was beginning to understand that humanity's greatest weapon was not their technology or their courage. It was their experience in fighting the most dangerous enemy possible, themselves. Admiral Kate Williams stood on the bridge of the Earth's newest warship, the Liberty Bell, as the largest space battle in human history began. The main Zephyrian fleet had finally arrived at Earth, bringing over 200 ships to finish what they had started. Kate commanded a combined fleet of 60 human vessels, including ships built by every nation on Earth. Working together, the battle would decide whether humanity survived or became another conquered species. Kate looked at her tactical display and smiled. The aliens had made their formation even more perfect than before, learning nothing from their previous defeats. All ships, this is Admiral Williams. Remember what we learned about our enemy. They think war is like a chess game with rules and proper moves. Show them that humans play a different game entirely. The Zephyrian fleet advanced in 3 perfect waves, exactly as their military manuals recommended. Commander Crix watched from his flagship, confident that superior numbers would overcome human trickery this time. But Kate had spent months studying the intelligence gathered from captured alien ships. She understood how Zephyrian commanders thought and how they expected battles to develop. More importantly, she understood something the aliens had never considered. Humans had been fighting each other for so long that they knew every possible way a battle could go wrong. Instead of meeting the alien attack head-on, the human fleet did something completely unexpected. They retreated toward Earth, but not in panic. They moved in a pattern that looked random, but was actually based on strategies from Earth's greatest military minds throughout history. Captain Ryan Bell commanded a squadron of fast attack ships that used tactics borrowed from ancient cavalry. Charges. Colonel Sarah White led a group of heavily armed vessels that fought like medieval knights defending a castle. Commander Paul Green's stealth ships struck from hidden positions, like guerrilla fighters in a jungle war. Each human commander fought differently, using lessons learned from thousands of years of warfare against equally intelligent opponents. The Zephyrians found themselves facing dozens of different fighting styles all at the same time, and their perfect formation began to break apart. The turning point came when Captain Nick Barnes led his strike team against the Zephyrian command ship. Using the same boarding tactics that had worked before, Nick's Marines fought their way through the alien vessel toward the bridge. But this time, they were not trying to destroy the ship. Tech specialist Megan Price had developed a new plan. It was so audacious, it could only have come from human minds. "We're going to capture their admiral," Nick told his team as they fought through the corridors. Alive. The idea of taking prisoners during a space battle was so alien to Zephyrian, thinking that they had no protocols for preventing it. Their ships were designed to fight other ships, not to protect against soldiers fighting inside their own vessels. Megan had studied the layout of Zephyrian command ships and found their weakness. The aliens trusted their technology completely. Their bridge had no locks, no guards, and no weapons. It had never occurred to them that enemies might fight their way inside. Within an hour, Nick's team had captured Commander Crix and taken control of the Zephyrian flagship. But instead of using it to attack other alien ships, they did something that shocked the watching galaxy. They used it to talk. "Attention all Zephyrian vessels." Kate's voice came through the alien communication system. "This is Admiral Kate Williams of the human fleet. We have captured your commander and your flagship, but we are not going to kill him." The battle stopped. Across the solar system, alien ships held their fire, confused by what they were hearing. "We know you expected us to execute your leader or torture him for information. That is what civilized species do in war. But humans are not civilized in the way you understand civilization." Kate paused, choosing her words carefully. "We offer you a choice. You can continue this war, and we will destroy every ship in your fleet. Or you can listen to what we have to say." The response came from the second in command of the Zephyrian fleet. "What do you want?" "We want to end this war. Not through conquest, but through understanding. We will return your commander unharmed. In exchange, we want to meet with representatives of your government to discuss peace." The alien officer sounded confused. "You are winning the battle. Why do you want peace instead of victory?" Kate smiled, thinking about all the lessons humanity had learned from thousands of years of warfare. "Because we have fought enough wars to know that victory without peace is just the beginning of the next war." 3 months later, Ambassador Tony Clark stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council on the planet Nexus Prime. He was the first human ever to address the assembled representatives of dozens of alien civilizations. "My fellow beings," Tony began, "we have learned that the galaxy is full of intelligent life. We have also learned that most of you fear us because of how we fight wars." The hall was silent. Every alien representative had heard the stories of human tactics and human victories against the mighty Zephyrian Empire. You fear us because we fight differently than you do. You fight wars like games with rules and proper procedures. We fight wars like our survival depends on it, because for us, it always has. Tony gestured to the Zephyrian delegation, where Commander Crix sat next to other former enemies who had become allies. But here is what you need to understand about humans. We fight so hard because we want the fighting to stop. We have seen what endless war does to a species. We have seen what happens when beings who should be working together spend all their time trying to destroy each other. Dr. Helen Parks stepped forward to join Tony at the speaking platform. She had spent months working with alien scientists to establish the new cooperation protocols. We offer the galaxy something new, Helen said. Not conquest or surrender, but partnership. We will share our knowledge of warfare so you can defend yourselves better. In exchange, you will share your knowledge of science and technology so we can explore the universe together. War Chief Gorth of the Drakmari stood up from his seat. Human ambassador, my people are warriors. We respect strength and courage. You have shown both. But why should we trust you? Tony looked at the alien warrior and gave an answer that would be remembered throughout galactic history. Because we are the only species that has spent thousands of years learning how to make peace with our worst enemies. Every human nation has fought wars against every other human nation at some point. Yet we learned to work together when we faced a common threat. He paused, looking around the great hall at faces that represented dozens of different worlds and civilizations. We learned that the strongest species is not the one that wins every fight. The strongest species is the one that knows when to stop fighting and start building something better. The vote to establish the Human Galactic Cooperation Council was unanimous. For the first time in galactic history, a species had joined the community not through conquest or surrender, but through mutual respect earned in battle. Later, General Roy Adams met with War Chief Gorth in a private ceremony to exchange military honors. The alien warrior asked the human general a question that had been troubling him. General Adams, what makes your species so dangerous in warfare? Is it your weapons? Your tactics? Your courage? Roy thought about all the human soldiers who had died defending Earth, all the battles fought throughout human history, and all the lessons learned from fighting enemies exactly as smart and determined as themselves. None of those things, he answered. What makes us dangerous is that we have been fighting ourselves for so long that fighting anyone else is just Tuesday. The galaxy had learned the real reason nobody dares to fight humans, not because they are the strongest species, but because they are the only species that has mastered the art of fighting enemies exactly as intelligent and creative as themselves. And more importantly, they are the only species that learned how to turn their greatest enemies into their strongest allies.